I saw a listing in the MLS the other day, $1 minus $3.95.
$1.
$1 minus $3.95. I owe you $394 if I sell your property.
Do you think they meant to put 1%?
No. This isn't the first time I've seen that either. It's these discount brokers are ruining the business because they're not presenting proper representation of their clients. Half the time it shows in agent's remarks, contact the seller to negotiate.
What's the 5 Ps? Do you remember it?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There you go. It doesn't matter how much money we get. If we don't close, it's no money, right? So no close is no money. I'm everything that I am because of my dad's death. And I wouldn't be as successful without his death. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Jason Theory. I am joined by my twin. I wore glasses so you guys could see the difference between us. I don't want to confuse anybody. Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll get rocking.
Sure. So I'm Justin Greenberg. I'm an agent, run a small team out of our Glenview office, primarily working in the suburbs, but we've got a lot of people moving from the city right now. And so we've got an agent down here as well. Been in the business 16 years. What else do you want to know?
That's good enough.
All right.
It was very nice of Justin to shave his head before he came today in solidarity. He actually has a tremendously thick head of hair. Yeah, it's a beautiful quad.
I wish.
All right, so let's jump right into it. You got 2020. Actually, let me even reverse it back. It was really interesting. I was doing some research before Sophia and I did a podcast, I want to say about a while ago, about 2 months ago. And I was looking at inventories in the suburbs in 2014 all the way to 2020. And the crazy thing was there was over 20 months of inventory right before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy was it taking 20 months of inventory and getting rid of it in a blink of an eye?
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember I had a townhouse in Highland Park that was on the market for 14 months. And I think we had a total of 8 showings. And COVID hit, took it off the market, put it back on late in 2020.
We had $500,000 higher.
We had it sold. It was no joke. We put it back on at the exact same price. We had multiple offers within a week.
Now, how did you start pricing stuff? Because it was so crazy, so quick. Was it like, let's just go a little high and let the market take it there? Like, because there was no data.
There was no data. And it was really hard because I remember sitting there with my client and saying, look, we were at this price and we were getting nothing. We had no activity. I'm like, the market has gone up, but there's nothing to show.
Yeah.
We can't comp it out. We're not going to be able to appraise out a number if we go higher. Even if we went 5% higher, there was nothing there.
So how did it work with appraisers? Were you having issues with the appraisers or are they like, hey, it's COVID, it's craziness, wherever you get, we're good? Or did they ask for multiple offers?
They were asking the same questions they're asking today. Were there multiple offers? What was the amount of interest in the property? Were there any concessions on the contract? All of that. But it was, I don't think we even had an appraisal, to be honest with you. I think it was a desktop appraisal when it did finally sell, because the appraiser, no one wanted to come out.
Right. You're so right.
Yeah,
that's right. I didn't do appraisal for like a year and a half. It was so right.
It was great.
So as you're taking in that inventory and it's flying off, where are, you've got these city people, they're like, listen, we got to get outside. We got to get the hell out of the city. We don't know what's going to happen. The world's going to end, which I said 3 years ago it never would end.
Right.
But when they're flying from the city to the suburbs, where were your suburb buyers going? Were they be coming like, hey, I can go to Utah. I can go to what they were calling Zoom cities. I can go here. I go, like, where were they going?
It was interesting because I thought you were going to see people flocking from the suburbs, and they weren't. They were looking maybe a little bit further out. They weren't as specific. They weren't saying I need to be, a 45-minute drive to the city. They were saying I can be an hour and a half
because I
might go across the Wisconsin border.
So that's just
so it wasn't a huge change. We weren't seeing people leaving in flocks. It was interesting. I actually had 3 or 4 buyer clients move here from other areas during COVID.
Like different states.
From Colorado, from California, Seattle. It was insane.
Well, Seattle, I can see.
Yeah.
I know when it burned. Yeah, because it's crazy. Because I started looking at like Crystal Lake and even pushing further north. I mean, you had like 3 years of inventory.
Yeah.
And 3 years of inventory was like 10 fucking homes. Right. And it's like there's nothing.
No.
It's crazy.
No, it was crazy because you were seeing people go way far north where they
Yeah.
could get a lot of space. They were away from their neighbors. But you also saw a lot of people moving further west. So we saw areas like St. Charles, Geneva. I think we had like 5 clients move to Naperville.
So did your business, are you like, I'm going to expand with that business and I'm going to go there?
I did. Yeah.
Well, there's no one on the road.
No.
Which was great.
No, and I didn't want to drive because that's a long drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was when I started to expand my team. I brought on 2 agents in the far north suburbs.
Okay.
I brought on someone in the city during COVID, I think October of 2020.
Okay.
So that was when I started to expand. But it was a crazy time in the suburbs because everyone was flocking.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a pool. The
Yeah.
houses with a pool you couldn't find.
Okay.
Whereas before, people didn't want the pool.
Yeah. And then probably to get a pool was 3 times the cost in a 3.
Oh my God. People were literally buying houses. The house could have been total garbage, but if it had a pool, they would overpay by $100,000.
Dude, I went out there and dig a fucking hole myself. With some plastic, a slip and slide right into it.
Oh, for sure. Oh, sure. I remember there was one house in Northbrook that had an in-ground pool that they were going to cement over because they couldn't sell the house. COVID hit, gone in a week.
Oh my Lord. What's the craziest, like, what did people have to do to buy a house? Like what, like we still can't do appraisals. There's no mortgage contingencies. Everything's as is. What were some of the craziest things you saw besides price? Were there exchange of children?
So I had one client, he was an orthodontist, and he offered the family that he was buying from had 3 young children. And in his offer, he put a letter that said, I'll do free braces for all the kids.
Oh my God.
No joke.
That was awesome.
It was hilarious. I was like, Pat, I don't know if that won you the offer, but I'm pretty sure it had a factor.
I'd like that a lot.
It was great. He came up with it. I didn't even suggest it. He came up with it himself. So,
and he
honestly,
yeah, that's awesome. And then, do you do mostly buyers? You 50-50?
So pre-COVID, I was probably 50-50.
Okay.
Post-COVID, I would say probably more 60-40, although right now it's crazy. I mean, all we have is buyers.
Yeah. So it's still terrible.
Yeah. There's getting a listing right now is like winning the lottery.
And so like when you do get a listing, let's talk because I still have this mindset. I don't think about the shortages. I still want to present a property the way that it should be presented because I think it's going to get you more money.
Mm-hmm.
In the city with the lack of inventory, which is changing right now, we are starting to get inventory. I mean, we're talking about
Almost at a nice.
Well, it's not a lot. But instead of 2
It's
homes,
more than it was.
Instead of 2 homes in a 3-mile radius, it's now 12.
Okay.
So, which is great because there's more options for people and they feel a little bit more secure when they buy stuff that they made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're dealing with someone now and you sit down and they say to you, hey, there's no inventory. I know everyone wants to be here. I don't have to do anything. I'm still going to hire you, but I'm not changing paint. I'm not doing this. How do you sell them on, hey, this is still what you need to do. You still need to spend 10 or 15,000 because it's going to come back to you at 100K. How do you sell that in the burbs? It's easier to sell in the city, I think.
I think it is easier to sell in the city because I think the sellers that I've had in the suburbs that I've had that conversation with just push back. And I said, you know what? That's fine. You can push back, but it is going to be reflected in the price.
Yeah.
And so we've had a couple of properties where we ran an experiment and I said, look, you want $1 million for your house. I think realistically to sell quickly, it needs to be at 9.
Okay.
So we'll put it in the private network. I had one house, we had 30 showings in the private network in 2.5 weeks. Not a single offer.
Well, there's your data.
There's your data.
Yeah,
and the feedback was pretty consistent that for the amount of work that the house needed, it wasn't worth $1 million.
See, I people still have. I mean, it's not COVID, right? Where people think they have to get out. People have gotten back to a point where they're still going to be somewhat like sane. Because I just had a discussion with the person in Glenview. It's new construction. It's like, I don't want to stage. I don't want to do this. I'm like, listen, you're in the driver's seat. You can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
I said, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and they're walking around from house to house to house, other homes are going to sell before yours, even with the lack of inventory.
Right.
Because in the city, if I take someone to 6 homes and that's all there is 6 homes and they don't like them, they just don't fucking buy.
They won't buy.
People think that, they have to buy. No, they don't.
They don't have to buy. That's the biggest misconception right now with the buyer pool that's out there is none of them have to buy.
No,
They want to buy.
they want to buy. And you have to make it attractive to them. They have to feel like that's their home. And I think that's the biggest problem. And I literally have a text thread with my seller today because he's a texter, and which I hate, but he's a texter. And this conversation could have been had in 5 minutes, but it was 40 minutes of texting and like carpal tunnel.
Right.
And I said to him, I go, listen, you still have to present the product the right way, or they just won't buy. He's like, well, there's no inventory. I said, yeah, but people don't have to send a 1-4.
Yeah, but if it's not presented the right way, it has to be at the right price for the condition that it's in.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
But why give something away when you can spend 20 grand and that's 100?
So that's what I think we're seeing in the suburbs is you don't have to. And this was the interesting thing. I'll go back to that house where they thought it was worth $1 million. And I said, it's worth $9 million in the condition that it's in. We tried it at $1 million. We dropped it to $950 in the private network. We still didn't have any offers. I said, look, we're going to go live at 900. We put it live. We had within the first 2-hour showing window, we had 6 offers. We had offers at 950. It's got to be priced right for the condition that it's in, unless you do little things. And all this house needed was paint, flooring, and maybe a bathroom.
You know what would be really interesting? And it's tough to tell somebody to do this because it's not our money. But let's just say we have so much money that we don't care what we spend it on. That's going to be here. We both have $100 million just at staying, like just petty cash.
Right.
I would love to do that again. List it at $1 million, $100K over price, as is. Go to 950 private, nothing. Go 900 private, nothing. Then go back up to $1 million and do the work.
Sure.
And see if you get $1.05 million, because you will.
You will. Yeah.
I just don't understand why people don't want to do that. Like, it fucking blows my mind. And I tell
you know what?
Don't leave $100,000 on the table.
And it's crazy because there are programs out there like Curbio, for example. Curbio's a great. I've used it 4 or 5 times. You could go in there and they could be in and out. It was literally paint, flooring, and 1 bath.
Yeah.
They could have been in and out in 2 weeks and they would have had $1.05 million. They didn't want to do it. It's the inconvenience of having to do the work while you're still living in the home to sell it to someone else.
It's so nuts to me, man. It's so nuts to me. I can't fathom leaving that money on the table. Not that I'm money hungry, but it's just such a small amount of effort to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you could live in a house. The floors, I understand, that's a pain in the rear because that's a pain. But you could spend $2,000 in update lighting, get on build.com, buy $100 worth of fixtures and call somebody to come bring them in, right? On TaskRabbit. And it's not that much of a convenience. And the money really the money is just so much more. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So COVID hits, everyone's going bananas, everything's crazy. When do you think that you'll start to see? I think the city is still I think we're going to have shortages for about another 4 years still. So when do you think you see something starting to even out a little bit? Maybe get to 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it's 4 or 5 years.
And then I don't think it'll be at 6 months of inventory, but maybe get to 4 or 5.
Right. No, I don't think we're going to see a traditional balanced market where it's 6 to 8 months. I don't think we're going to see that until maybe 2030.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, here's the reality is, and I'm sure it's the same in the city. Right now, we have so many shortages of inventory in every market, and there's still demand.
Yeah.
You do an open house, you have 30, 40 people coming through on the weekend. But I think once rates drop, we're not going to see inventory decline. You're going to see people that are willing to move, but there's going to be even more demand.
Yeah.
Everyone's been sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So I don't see it happening for 4 or 5 years, at least.
What is the biggest product when people go out to the suburbs from the city? what are the 4 things that they have to have? Like, they're like, I mean, pool.
Not anymore. That's the interesting thing. Those are out. We're back to the normal market.
So 4 things.
Maybe half the people would like a pool, but it's not a must-have like it was during COVID.
We're going to get to the 4 things, but that reminds me, how important is it when city people come to the suburbs, and maybe for suburbs people, that the master bedroom is on the first floor and all the bedrooms are up at top?
That used to be, you started to see builders building the first floor master and everything. That trend has gone away. I haven't seen that.
You have to have a bedroom and a full bath on the first.
You have to have a bedroom, but not the primary.
Not the primary.
The primary, people are actually going back to wanting the primary upstairs. It's interesting. I've actually seen the trend reverse where everyone wanted the open floor plan. Now everyone wants sectioned off spaces. Even if it's open, they want to have spaces where you can set up an office, where you can set up a game room, where you can set up a play area.
Okay, so let's get back to that then. So the 4 things, a home office has got to be huge.
Home office is huge.
First floor, light, by the kitchen. What like when people are like, this is where we want our home office. Because in the city, you're like, fuck, I got a 2-2. My home office is by the fireplace.
Right.
Like, where can I fit a desk?
So
you're going to the burbs, so space.
So people want a first floor office or a basement office that has light.
Okay.
So that's what I've been seeing a lot of. You're not seeing people. It's interesting because you find a 4 or 5 bedroom home where there's 4 or 5 bedrooms upstairs and they have 2 kids and they don't need those 4 bedrooms up there. They won't turn one into an office. One will be a workout room. One will be a guest room.
Okay.
But they won't turn that into an office. So it's first floor office, attached garage.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Chicago winters are brutal.
Yeah.
The yard.
Okay.
Yard is a huge thing. And then I think location is the most important other than that.
Okay.
So not necessarily
When you mean location, you're talking school?
school, parks, train, downtown. Because people moving from the city want that lifestyle that they were used to.
They still want that.
They want to be able to walk. Exactly.
Okay. And is the spread, when you see a house that's close to, let's say, the train at Glenview or the North Shore or wherever it's at, is that spread? Like, are people like, I'll pass on 3 of the 4 things if I'm close to where I can walk to shops? Or is the space and the yard, does that trump? Like, what on the hierarchy, will that trump the other spots?
I think it just depends on the person. I think location for people that are still commuting to the city is the most important factor.
Yeah.
But I think some of the other stuff is way more important than location when it comes to different buyers. I mean, everyone's working from home now.
Yeah.
Even if you're going into the office, you're still working from home 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So I think that's more important, is the actual space versus the things that used to be like it was location. I don't think people care that much anymore.
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay, so we've got COVID. We run through all the inventory. How is pricing looking now versus pricing back then? I mean, because there's still a lack of inventory. I would read comps.
Yeah, there's less inventory now than there was even back then.
Yeah. The city's the same way too. We were like 2.2 during COVID, or like at 1.7.
Yeah.
That's really tight.
Yeah, we're about the same right now. Pricing is up. I think a lot of people thought pricing would fall this year.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen it in the suburbs. Everywhere that I'm looking at, we're at like 4 or 5% increase in price this year. Last year, the fall was pretty slow. We saw declines in the fall.
Okay.
We were seeing a lot of price reductions. Right now, we're not.
Where do you see, so like I have friends that are always like, or clients are like, it's like, I'm not, I'm spending 1.5, 1.6 on a house in the city. I'm moving to the suburbs. And I say to them, what the fuck do you think you're going to spend in the suburbs, man? It's the same stuff. A plain vanilla house is 1.6 all day, 1.4 all day. I mean, you buy something that's 1.1, 1.2, you're going to have to put a lot of work into, which is crazy. So as people are pushing and trying to find a sub 1 house, what are the hot areas that you work or you see where people are migrating to because of price?
So there's parts of Northbrook and Glenview where you can still get a decent house for under 1.1.
Okay.
So you go to West Glenview, you go to West Northbrook.
You got to be close to the cash.
You're still going to find that beyond that, you go up into Lake County. There's parts of Riverwoods. There's Deerfield. You go up to Libertyville. Libertyville is, I think, one of the best eyes in the north suburbs right now.
Okay.
So you've got great schools. You've got a great downtown area. You're close to Melody Farms and Vernon Hills and all of this shopping and entertainment districts that have popped up. And you can get a really nice house for $850, $900.
What was that house 4 years ago?
657.
That's crazy.
It's
on a percentage wise. Like people are like, oh, it's 7. I'm like, it's a huge percentage.
It's a huge percent. And you're seeing new construction out there, but not to the same extent that you're seeing it in suburbs like Northbrook, Glenview. Even in parts of Deerfield, you're seeing a ton of new construction popping up.
When you get that far north, you start getting to Libertyville, you start getting to Crystal Lake, you start getting like an hour outside the city, is the distance to the train, does that start to not matter because those people they're going there because they're not commuters?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is from Libertyville to the city is still about an hour train ride. Oh, it's not a huge difference. When you go out to Crystal Lake, that's far.
Yeah,
that's an hour and 20 minutes on the train. You're like, exactly. So, but there's some good buys out in the suburbs. It depends. You have to be flexible with the demands.
How are you keeping your buyers in this low inventory market? How are you keeping them engaged? How are you keeping them like energized? Because let's say I had 30 buyers Jan 1st throughout, like 15 of them are now like, they're like, fuck it, right?
It's really,
I'm like, well, how about we do this? How about we do this? Do you want to do a multi-unit? Like I'm trying to find, and then I have people that are like, I got to be under 1.3 and I got to be in Bucktown. I texted one of them yesterday. Yeah, it's been 2 months. It ain't fucking happening.
Right. I think it's really hard. So the buyers that are moving to the suburbs from somewhere else, I think they're flexible. I think you can say, you know what, why don't we check out this area? Why don't we maybe go, 5-10 minutes further north or west? And you might find what you're looking for. The buyers that are already in the suburbs, those are the ones where it's really hard.
I just think those are the most picky motherfuckers.
They are.
The ones that are there.
They are.
A Bucktown person wants to think of Bucktown. I'm like, I want this street. Yep. Because this is one way. I want this. Whereas a person from the city coming to the suburbs, yeah, they're like, oh, I'm not on Ashland? Fuck it. But listen, Willow, I'm
exactly. Yeah, it's interesting because you have like, it's insane.
Yeah.
You go, so the buyers that are moving in the suburbs are primarily upsizing.
Yeah.
And they already have their kids in the school. They don't want to leave that school district. A lot of them don't want to leave that neighborhood. My wife was a perfect example of this. We moved last year. She literally, when she agreed to move, she said, we can stay within 1,500 feet of our house. I said, oh, great. So I can literally go knock on 40 doors.
That's a ton of options.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
But
that's a blessing.
You have
and
to be
a curse, right? Because
it was,
because where you like, all right, I got this thing, but we're gonna have to wait 2 years.
Right. Exactly. So those buyers are really hard right now because there's just nothing.
And when something comes on inventory and you say, like, what do you say to them? Like I say to people, I'm like, hey, listen, you just gotta wait. You just gotta wait. Like, hey, we'll be patient. We'll be patient. We'll be patient.
Right.
Then eventually, people are like, fuck it. I'll lose the renters, but the people that own, I don't lose them. I'm like, just relax, because don't forget, when you're ready to sell, the inventory you have, no one has.
Your house is going.
So I'm like, just be patient.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling them. Just be really patient. And the thing that I'm doing way different right now is I'm talking to realtors way more than I'm talking to my own clients. You have to find those off-market opportunities. The challenge is, and I just got into this conversation with someone else in my office this morning, is you can have those conversations, you can find the inventory, but then they turn into listing agent mode. And they're like, oh no, this isn't what's best for my client. I'm going to wait. We're not going to allow any showings. Even though you reached out to me before I even had the listing signed, we're going to wait and we're going to show it all at once.
So do you get those, that'll lead me to this, which is kind of off topic. I didn't think we were talking about it, but do you get those people, this fucking kills me, that we're listing Tuesday, but there's no showings till Saturday and Sunday at the open house.
Yeah.
And you can't even breathe. No. Is that, so I'm going to tell you what I think. I don't think that's best. I don't think that's what's best for the seller.
It's not what's best for the seller. No. It's not what's best for your relationship with the other agents too. I mean, these are people that you're doing multiple deals with a year. and they're playing games with you. It doesn't, I don't feel good about that. I'd rather have a good, solid transaction. And you know what? Sometimes if someone comes in early and they're the first one through the door, they're going to be that much more motivated to make a solid offer that's going to convince the seller to take it and not deal with 30 other showings.
How many, speaking on that genre we just talked about, how many cancellations are you seeing because
People are making quick
they
decisions.
do these mass open house and everyone's like, and then all of a sudden Monday they're like, oh, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my sellers. I go, if you want to do that, that's fine. Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to go through 5 fucking contracts. I go, because everyone's going to be just crazed writing. They don't want it. They're taking it. And you know what? Some agent that has no relationship with anybody in the community is going to be like, just take it off the market. Just take it off the market. Like when I get multiple offers, I put them out. I go, I don't know them, for sure. Those 2 people I know very well. I can yell at. I can say, fuck you.
Yeah.
They owe me favors and they're going to close.
Or to take it a step further, you lay them out and you say, this agent never even contacted me. I don't even know if that agent showed the house.
There's no relationship there.
There's no relationship. This is so much more of a relationship business today than it ever has been in the.
If you run around with a discount broker, and I don't know what I can and can't say, but if you run around with a fish of certain colors, you're not good. I mean,
You're not winning any.
You're not winning anything.
You've got to come in 5-10% higher than
whatever you're getting bonused, you're paying threefold the price.
Exactly. That's the part. No, they don't. They say no.
And you're getting the worst dollar amount on the sale because the person there is like we don't know anything. It's so interesting to me. It's like hey, I need to have like my hand sew back on. Find me the cheapest doctors you can find.
Yeah,
it's the largest
investment you're going to make in your
lifetime, and you're trying to find the cheapest way to do it for sure.
It's crazy. And on the flip side of it too, we're seeing more and more discount listings popping up, and those agents don't answer their phone. You call them 5 times, you get, oh, this voicemail box is full. You send them a text, you send them an email. You got to literally chase them down to find them.
I'm listening to you, but I'm going to read something to you. Hold up.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
you
hold up.
This too.
Yeah, hold up. Where is my buddy? Hold up. Let's get to this. I know. We'll cut this and splice it up where it gets to where I'm going to go. But this is great. All right, hold up. Because I don't discount, right? So hold up. Look at this. This guy. Who else answers texts like this at all times today? You know what? Discount brokers don't, buddy.
No, they don't. They might not answer your text for 2 weeks.
Yeah. My partner is a broker he knows who's willing to take commission at 4%. We're just weighing our options. This is my response. And this should be everybody's response. On anything you do, never devalue yourself, period. Anyone doing 4% work isn't going to work. Agents who use junior agents and lockboxes, I will make up the 10K in commission or 20K in commission for that difference. That's 1.5% before they pay for marketing split with the company. Unless they're going to offer 2% to the other broker, then it's going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Go back to that part. The offering 2%, that's happening.
Because they have to cut commissions to get the listing.
It's crazy. I saw a listing in the MLS the other day, $1 minus $3.95.
$1.
$1 minus $3.95. I owe you $394 if I sell your property.
Do you think they meant to put 1%?
No. This isn't the first time I've seen that either. It's these discount brokers are ruining the business because they're not presenting proper representation of their clients. Half the time it shows in agent remarks, contact the sellers to negotiate.
Oh, dude, when I'm looking for, if I have a bot, and I'm going to ask you if it's it was never like this, but I'm going to ask you if it's like this by you. Mm-hmm. If I'm looking for a home under $500,000 and I'm in Jefferson Park, Edison Park,
all the skirt parts of the city,
but that are exploding right now, I never get to an agent. It's just the owner will open up the property for you.
Yep.
And man, that's just such a disservice for you.
It is.
And it's crazy. But at what price point do you only you see that in the burbs? 700, 800, is it 500 like it is here? 500
where the seller is opening the door.
Or you never see the agent, you never talk to them.
Well, I think that's the big difference in the burbs is there's a lot of properties where you never see the agent.
But you at least talk.
They're not accompanying. They're throwing a lockbox on. You're talking to them.
Do the owners open up?
It's all price points, honestly, Jason. I've seen $1.5 million, $2 million properties where the owner is opening the door for us. And I've seen
it's so unsoothing for the buyer.
It really is. It's uncomfortable because you can't walk in, you can't talk about things. And I just tell my clients, I'm like, look, we'll talk about everything after we walk out the door when we're done, when we're standing outside.
Yeah.
But it's going to be uncomfortable. There's no way around it, though. I mean,
and that uncomfortable just leads to, like, unless you're giving the house away,
right?
You're like, yeah, let's go somewhere.
Right. But at the same time, you look at those properties and you say, you know what, this is the one where I'm going to be able to negotiate a good deal if the house is nice.
Yeah.
So, and on the flip side of that, if I can get
but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that that's you're going to take them to the sheets, right? Because the broker sucks,
right?
Which once again is like a disservice, and pay somebody and you're going to make that. Man, it's so bizarre.
It's crazy.
I just started running into that a lot, and it sucks. I can't get out of the house. I don't know where the fucking keys are at. I'm there with like the people that are, the buyers, and we're all ripping around a house trying to find all the guys. I'm like, you check over there, and I got terrible eyes. I'm like, blind is it bad? I'm like, I don't know where anything is. And half the time it's literally on the doorknob of the door.
So I understand why you guys accompany all the showings in the city, because I've done showings in the city where you're like, it's on the lockbox rail. Well, which one? There's 150 lockboxes on that lockbox rail. But in the suburbs, they're now a lot of agents that are playing the game hide the lockbox. Oh, it's on the bush next to the back door. What bush? There's 40 bushes back there. I don't know. It's one of my favorite games. I when I see listing instructions that say check the bush by the back door, I tell my clients, I'm like, give me 20 minutes. I got to check all the bushes by the back door. So, and I don't know. It's really disheartening to see the way the industry is changing in a lot of ways. And it's bad for our client,
but it's good for us.
It is and it's not. I think what'll be good for us is when you start to see some data showing that those properties are selling for significantly less than they are with the top producing agent, with someone who knows their value, knows their worth, knows what they bring to the table, and can justify those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I love being in an industry that people suck in.
I'm glad you love it. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when you can't find a lockbox.
Yeah.
But it's also when you go to a place and say XYZ, this, and this. Like, marketing-wise, we'll get you out on this because I think we've been talking for a while. Marketing-wise, what have you changed? I mean, I know you're starting, because I follow you, you're starting to do a lot of stuff on video. You're starting to do some Instagram, are you on TikTok yet?
I'm on TikTok. I haven't really posted much.
It's the best. But it's just another thing.
I know. You and everyone else keep saying that.
I love TikTok. The thing with TikTok is the participation from the people. It's much better. Like, really? People on TikTok are there to really talk.
And that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I got a referral from someone in Seattle from TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
An agent or?
An agent.
So that was my question with TikTok is it seems like there's a lot more engagement between other agents in different marketplaces.
Oh yeah. We had
not necessarily the consumer.
I have TikToks that have like almost 200,000 views. And
that's crazy.
We have like 800 conversations.
Wow.
Like 400 shares forwarded to here. And we have conversations like what's going on there. I had a TikTok about Zoom cities and what's going on, what's happening by you. And it's just a conversation just going on and going on.
Yeah.
Like I'll always talk like, and if I have a post that has 400 comments, by the end of the week, I have responded to all fucking 400 people.
That's crazy. I don't know how you do. That's a lot.
I just sit there, like if I'm watching the NBA finals, I'll just scroll through, okay, what I haven't commented on, blah, 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 blah. And then when I get into fights, I earmark those conversations. Like I got into fights last year that this year was going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that rates were never going to go to 10. Like I had one that exploded and everyone was just badgering me. I literally went back to that TikTok from like 6 months ago and I fucking went through every single person. And I literally wrote, I was right. I was right. And I went from top to bottom.
And how many of those people reached back out to you and said, you know what, you were right. I'm actually going to work with you.
No. about half of them say, we'll see. I'm like, dude, what do you mean we'll see?
It's happening right
It's
now.
happening, bro. Half the month, half the year's over, bro.
Don't you love that when you can reach back out to someone and say, hey, remember that conversation we had? Yeah, I was right.
I was right.
You're wrong.
Yeah. I will never pass up a time to say that.
No. So as far as marketing, what are we doing different? So we're trying to do a lot more engagement, trying to get in front of people a lot more. I feel like the one thing that COVID changed that wasn't for the best was we don't have that face-to-face interaction anymore.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of home buyer happy hour events. We're doing a lot of client appreciation type stuff. We're doing neighborhood events. We're going to golf outing. We're just doing more to get in front of people.
Okay.
So I think that's where we've changed a lot of stuff. I went down the rabbit hole with YouTube, and I'm going to start doing a lot more YouTube videos because it seems like YouTube really helps to bring in a lot of buyer traffic, especially people that are outside the area.
Well, you just want to link. What I would tell you to do is link everything you do on Instagram and TikTok. You need to link that to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So like you give teasers, like I'll give a 30-second teaser or a 10-second teaser about something, or I'll do a quick carousel with like good music. And then there's the link and the hyperlink goes straight to YouTube.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is
tough to like.
Well, that's what I've seen is the research I've been doing on YouTube is that's actually not the best way to grow your YouTube traffic because it changes their algorithm. YouTube will prospect for you if you have the right content.
Oh, interesting.
So it's Google.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that definitely when we do a lot of stuff, like we split it up, but we do a lot to our website because our website has like Google Analytics and like how the guy built it, and that helps. But I mean, I went to almost 11,000 followers on TikTok in like 6 months. I've been like at like 13, 14, 1,500 on YouTube for a while.
Yeah. So YouTube isn't about the followers. It's about the number of views.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you can get the views up there, YouTube, the conversion rates are way higher because people are looking at YouTube and they're doing research.
Yes.
So that's their, instead of going on Google, they'll look and say, what is the Northbrook housing market like? So what are the positives and negatives about living in Northbrook?
What do you think the number one search engine is right now in the world?
It's YouTube.
TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. Over Google.
Wow. That's shocking.
Number one. So like when at the demographic that we want,
sure,
the demographic that's going to turn 3 or 4 transactions by the time they die.
Right.
Well, I'll be dead first, but my
not that much older.
My son could convert them.
Yeah.
But that's like, if you like, for instance, like if I'm like, let's go see, like when I was in Cleveland this weekend with my son at a basketball camp, and we were like, man, let's find a basketball place to eat. My son went on and put hashtag Cleveland breakfast on TikTok. And we saw all the different breakfast places and videos of all the food that's there.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It is crazy. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I spend way too much time on TikTok, but
there's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg gave $500 million to political contributions. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, TikTok is the devil.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because it's crushing.
It's right. Of course. Exactly.
It's crushing it. They all collect data. You think TikTok's the only one that collects the data?
Come on. Believe me, and I know
Facebook knows where you take a shit.
Yeah. I was complaining. I don't even remember what it was, but I was complaining about something the other day, and then all of a sudden their competitors started popping up on Facebook.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. It's a joke.
All right. So we'll close you out on this. Predictions for... Obviously, we're going to be slow in July, kind of always is. I'm sure you're kind of slow then too.
Yeah.
People are in out of school and vacationing. How do you feel about the tail end of this year? And we are headed towards an election soon. Do you think that we've always stale on elections? Like it always gets quiet. You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you say that because I've been having that conversation with a lot of people. I don't think this election cycle is going to be as slow as it
normally is.
I think we're going to see rates start to come down a little bit next spring. And I think that's going to boost the market. I think you're going to see a little bit more inventory come on. I don't think we're going to see market time increase, and I don't think we're going to see supply increase. But I think we're going to see more inventory because rates are going to drop. You're going to have that move up buyer that now is comfortable leaving their 2.5%, 3%.
They're like, oh, I can buy something for 5. Bro, I'm going from 3 to 5 and I really need this extra space.
Sure.
I can stomach that. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm having those conversations with people and saying, look, if you're going to wait until rates drop, buy now.
Yeah.
When rates drop, prices are going up 20, 25%.
People don't, I mean, like, you want to just get involved in what happened during COVID and battle people? It's just, like, it's very weird.
Let me ask you this question, because I think this is very much like the start of COVID. I think the start of this year was like 2020. And I think we're going to see the end of the year really pick up just like it did in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I tally, you know, I'm on a team too with Sophia and some others, but I tally the business that I bring in personally because I keep like personal goals. And I am, at this moment, I'm at my best 6 months I've ever had in my career.
Really?
Yeah. So, and you know, I've got probably at this moment, another 25 million in my pipeline. It's just a matter of being able to get it out, you know, and then the amount of, the buyers, I'll probably lose half that pipeline, but I don't care. I'll have them next year.
Right. You're not losing them. You're just pushing them back a little bit.
I agree with you. I am excited that, you know, I can go to Wicker Park in Bucktown and see 14 or 15 homes for sale versus 2. Yeah. Like everyone's like, oh, real estate agents want this. Like we have buyers too, man. Like we have people that want to buy homes, and if we can get a little bit of a pullback, now the prices are still going higher, just people are being more realistic. Like everyone thinks a price cut. Well, listen, if this house sold for 1.3, the neighbor sells, lists for 2 million, and they cut to 1.4, it's still a price increase. Like it's like basic math that people don't understand.
You know, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the conversation I have with sellers all the time because I've taken over a couple of listings this year that were listed with someone else, too hot.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to drop to that. You're not dropping.
Yeah.
If you put it at the right price, if the house is worth $1.5 million and you list it for $1, it's going to sell for $1.6 million.
If you list it, it's $1.7 million.
Let's hope.
Don't sell yourself short. You got $100,000 in you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. All right, cool. This was great. It was actually really interesting. We will be dropping this in a couple weeks. So sorry, people are leaving the office. I don't know how to turn off the speaker. We'll be dropping this probably right after school gets out. So if you're bored at home, you can listen to the Ball Twins and enjoy it. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much. You can find us on every app. You name it, we're on it. Why don't you give us your socials?
Sure. So everything is either Just Call Justin or we're transitioning everything over to more of a team focus now. It's JG Group Chicago on everything.
On everything. Instagram.
Instagram.
If they want to just reach out to you directly and tell you how much they love your shaved head that you did for me, how can they reach out and call you?
You want me to give my phone?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. 847-975-7658.
Do you want to give your email too, or just have them go to your socials and DM?
Go to my socials, DM me, text me.
And what's the social one more time?
It's Just Call Justin or JG Group Chicago.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys around, and thanks for spending some time with us.